Welcome to the channel, and this time I will be trying out a few new things. I'm trying out a new microphone, and I'm trying out a new camera angle, and I'm trying out 2 new strops that I just made. So any feedback on the sound and especially the camera angle is welcome. If this one is better than the top down, or if I need to get a bit closer, or any feedback is welcome. So this time I will be sharpening this knife. This is the Helle Nord. It is a rather new thing for Helle to do, being a full tang, a rather big camp knife. I know Helle have done some big knives before, like the salmon knives they made, but this is a rather new thing for Helle, with a full tang and a rather broad blade. You can see there's a big handle. You can move back and use it for chopping. It's not too thick in the blade, so it can do some food prep in a pinch. It still is a Scandi grind, so it's not the best at doing food prep, but it will do it. So this is the first time, I don't know if you can see this. This is the factory edge, so it's the first time I'll be sharpening this knife, and I'll be using my Veneve diamond stone, starting at the 220 side. I'll put that sheath away. Put on some water. Find the angle. Get some paper. By the way, this is in 14C28N Sandvik steel, and you can see here, I don't know if I can zoom in a little bit. You can see the stone is catchy, or it's touching here and here, so it's a bit uneven from the factory. So I'll just have to work through that to get a more even edge on it. And it's also got a little bit of a recurve down here, so I'll be at it for a little while to get through that it is always like that, or many times it's like that on the first sharpening of a knife. And before I'm finished on one side, I like to switch to the other side and work a little bit on the other side too. Just to see. Oh, the grind is a little bit more even on this side. The stone is touching a bit more, so I'll just keep on. And I like to alternate my strokes to go full edge length, and sometimes like this, and other times I like to go. I work on one part at a time, and why I do this is mainly to get some variation in the sharpening. I mean, for me that is. So I'm just like to change it up a bit. And it also keeps me on the right angle, I feel better. So if I keep on going like this and I do some long strokes, somehow it makes me feel the edge better. And I also make sure that I get like the tip area. Do that as much as the rest. Now I can see here I am touching all the way down here. There's a little bit missing here. I don't know if I can yeah, there you can see there are some blank or shiny spots that I need to get to sharpen down to those to get it an even bevel. And I'm also working a bit extra at the heel to get some of that recurve out. I know I won't get it all out necessarily, and that is not really too very important, but I like to get all the way as far back into the plunge grind as I can, but the very back portion there, it's not a 90-degree angle between the punch grind and the rest of the bevel, so there will always be at least a little bit of a smile, but that that's just the way it is, and it doesn't affect the performance of the knife at all. So I will be just going back and forth. Keeping the stone wet. And this veneer stone is, like I mentioned before, it's quite aggressive, even though it doesn't feel that way when you touch it, but it is quite aggressive, and there is quite a lot of metal swarf on top now, I can see. And sometimes I like to stop just to make sure that I have the angle right. And I can also listen and feel. You can feel if the angle is right by the way you feel it glide on the stone, and also by the way it sounds. So now most of the way through there are some shiny spots here, and also right back here where there is a recurve. And I'll see, I'm not gonna try to grind out all of that recurve because it'll disappear after a while, after some sharpenings. So instead of removing all that steel now, it's kind of I like to see it as more of a long-term project, just because every time you take off steel you shorten the lifespan of the knife. So if it's just for aesthetics, I don't really care too much. I want this is to be a functional user, and I want to use this for many years. So a little bit of a recurve from the factory doesn't really matter because it will disappear in later sharpenings. So same thing, these shiny spots, as long as they don't go all the way to the edge, I know that the edge is fine, it's sharp, and that will come out in later sharpenings. However, I don't know if I can show this part. I can get that on camera. There's a tiny bit here where the shiny part is right on the edge, and I need to work more on that. It's getting there. I like to turn the stone around just to get an even wear on the stone. And by angling the knife like this, I can get all of the straight part of the edge done in one movement, and that ensures a more consistent angle. And I see I still have a little bit to do, a little bit of sharpening left on this edge there, so I'll go back and forth until that is sharpened all the way to the edge. And another thing, I have been looking online for places to buy this stone, and I haven't found anyone at the moment. So if anyone know where to get this stone, preferably in Scandinavia, but anywhere really. I'll just say that this stone is 7.8 inches long, 3.2 inches wide. So it is a nice stone to work on. It's so wide. I like working on wide stones. Let's see. Still a little bit to go there, and on this side it's just the tiniest bit, almost all along the edge, right on the apex. So This is the 700 side. And this side is, you can feel it's a lot smoother, but still quite aggressive, and it removes metal. Even though you can hear it, it's much smoother and it feels much smoother. I can see right away that it leaves a much finer and more hazy finish on the edge instead of the more scratchy look of from the other side. So I'll just be working on refining the edge, removing the scratch pattern from the last grit. And you can hear, I hope you can hear with my new microphones set up here. I'm not quite sure how well you can hear the sounds of from the knife sharpening itself. But it is a much smoother stone and I can feel it gliding. Feels totally different from the other side. As I said, you can see the finish on the blade is very much different on this side, after this side, than after the Corsair's 200 was to 220. That's the 220 side, the other one. Just inspecting the edge. I'm not going for a mirror edge, but still I like it. I like a good looking edge, or rather a good looking bevel. It is the grind that you see the edge is just being more and more refined, less and less toothy. And for a knife that you want, maybe do a little bit of whittling, but at least making feather sticks with it. A nice sharp, not too toothy edge is what I prefer, at least for carving in wood. And you see it in the wood when it leaves no marks, and the wood that you cut is left kind of the cut marks are shiny. It's typical for a knife with a smooth, sharp edge. So I think that will do it for that side, and I was thinking maybe take it up a notch. Just try out to go up to the 5K Sharpening. You can see here the Sharpening is a little bit longer, but it is But the veneer is quite a lot wider. So I'm just gonna extend my holder, stone holder, and this is just to see what the 5000 does with this edge now. It's almost feels almost smooth as glass, although it is only a 5000. I do have an 8 and a 12,000 stone too, but I really don't use them that much. I never sharpen straight razors, but the 8 and the 12K stones are great for sharpening straight razors. I just wanted to see. I can see this is maybe a little bit too big of a jump. I might have done the 2K Sharpening Pro in between to get a more reflective edge. Let's see, but still, yeah, you can see it on the camera. It's still, you can still see it takes off metal. So the Sharpening Pro series, very good stones, and they cut very well, and they are not prone to cracking the same way as some other stones are. So they are kind of easy going stones that are very good, and I recommend them to everyone who wants to start hand sharpening. Get a 1 or 2 Sharpening Pro stones. Do not buy the Chinese no-name stones that you can get very cheap on eBay or Temu or Alibaba or whatever. I did start with those, and they are really just usable as paperweights. It takes you very long to get the sharpened edge, and on some of the newer steels they don't do anything really. So these stones, they sharpen most of the new modern steels too without problem. So I think I'll just leave it at that. I'm just gonna clean up here, and then I'm gonna strop it, and I will finish stropping on the 2 new strops that I made. To show how if you can see how the edge is. It's quite hazy. But if I had stayed with the 5K stone a little bit longer, the edge would have been much more reflective, but I just don't have the patience to do that right now. I want to just get a good working edge on this knife. So I'll start in my 3 micron strop. This is a double-sided strop with the rough edge of the leather on this side and the smooth side of the leather on this side. And my favorite strop so far is this one, and this has smooth leather on both sides, and I've kind of always preferred stropping on the smooth side of the leather, but I am trying, and I have been using this for a while, and I really like this strop too. It's a little bit softer leather. We'll get to the 2 new smaller strops that I made. I just made them yesterday. And I'll go to the 1 micron side. I have diamond paste on both sides of these strops. And here too I like to vary the technique. Like that. And then I just got some new diamond emulsions. These are from Gender. And I bought a 0.5 and a 0.1 micron emulsion. So I thought I'd just make 2 strops out of some scrap wood and some scrap leather that I had lying around. And I'm gonna try them today for the first time. Let me see, just to show you, these are about 7 3/4 long. That's and about 2 3/8 wide. So they're not big strops, and I just found some wood, cut it to size, and I found some scrap leather. You can see here, I don't know if you can see, it's not a very thick leather, but both of these pieces are glued on with the rough side out, and that's the first time I'm trying such fine stropping paste, and I'm trying it on the rough side to see how it is. So I'll start with this one, 0.5 micron. Right away I like the feeling when the knife glides across. It's smooth, even, and the leather is so it's hard enough that it doesn't bend around the edge too much. And I can already see some metal being taken off this area here. I'm not applying too much pressure. Going nice and slow, just to get the feeling for the strop. And might as well go to the 0.1 micron strop. This offers much less resistance when I'm stropping. When I'm dragging the knife across, it glides much easier than on the 0.5 micron strop. And the leathers are identical. They are two pieces cut from the same piece right beside each other, so the leather is the same on both. The only difference is the diamond emulsion. And now to the moment of truth. I'm going to test it out on some paper. You can see here now the result. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. Let's see if I can get some more light on this. It's still quite hazy, as you can see. It's not a mirror finish by any means, but we'll see and listen to the way it cuts through paper. I feel it's not just the way you see it cut, but the way you hear it cut. No hiccups, doesn't catch anywhere. And the sound it's not that rough sound when you have a very toothy edge. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. If you are still watching, thank you very much, and please leave a comment if you do have any questions or any feedback, something you would have done differently, or maybe something about the camera angle or the sound. Please let me know. So until next time, thank you very much for watching.